The track and field world was amazed and stunned by a performance from a 17-year-old from Tulare, California. This young boy had little or no experience in the decathlon. His name, Bob Mathias.
When I was 17 years old and a senior at Tulare High School, I was going out for football, basketball, and of course track and field. And one day my coach came up and said, "Bob, how would you like to try a new event called Decathalon?" So I says, "Fine, Coach, it sounds like a lot of fun. What is it?" Well, even my coach did not know what the 10 events were, but he did find out, and I went to Los Angeles for my first decathlon meet. First time I'd really been out of Tulare. First time I had competed against college athletes, and I was pretty scared. But somehow I was pretty lucky, and I came in first. So 3 weeks after that, I was on a big boat sailing to London. And of course, this time I was just really scared.
It is July 29, 1948, the opening day ceremonies of the London Olympic Games. 12 years have passed since Glenn Morris's record-breaking triumph in Berlin. Under brilliant sunny skies, King George VI of Great Britain arrives to formally open the Games. More than 6,000 athletes from 59 nations mass in London's Wembley Stadium to greet Britain's wartime monarch. One of these athletes is Bob Mathias of the United States. After opening day, the decathlon begins. In the first event, the 100-meter dash, Bob Mathias makes a formidable showing. His time of 11.2 places him third amongst the 35 competitors. As the day moves on, the weather turns. By the fourth event, the high jump, Mathias falters slightly. He is back in fifth place.
In the high jump, I missed on a very low height. And if I'd missed that, I would have received not very many points. And they had a contingent from California in the stands. And these people were yelling, "Come on, Tulare! Come on, Tulare!" Which is my hometown. Of course, I heard it. It relaxed me. I felt 100% better, and I raced up there, and I cleared it by 1 foot. And I think that was really the turning point in the whole 48 London Olympic Games because I felt at home. I knew I had some friends up in the stands.
At the end of the first day, Mathias was back in third place. He is now in good position to challenge for the gold medal. Now on the second day, Wembley Stadium has turned into a quagmire of mud. Day has become night. The athletes are competing in virtual darkness. Visibility is determined by inches, not yards. Now in the seventh event, the discus, one of the strangest sequences in decathlon history takes place.
In those days, they had a different system of measuring the throws. Where everybody would throw, and they'd put all these markers out there. And on one of my throws, it was probably the best throw I ever had in decathlon. So one of the throwers threw the discus. It landed right in front of my marker and, of course, knocked it over. So all these English officials came out there and they sort of guessed. They finally put it somewhere, and I think I probably lost about 10 feet on my official throw.
The distance the judges gave Mathias is still good enough to put him in first place, a lead he never relinquishes. In almost total darkness, with judges using flashlights to move about, Bob Mathias becomes decathlon champion, breaking the world and Olympic record of Glenn Morris.
After the last event, it was 11 or 11:30 at night, and there were very few people up in the stands. My name was up in the scoreboard as a winner, and I could hardly believe it. And somehow my mom got down on the track, and she raced up to me and gave me a great big hug and said, "Robert, how do you feel?" Well, after this 1,500 meter and so forth, I was tired, and I said, "Mom, I'll never do this again as long as I live."
2.5 months short of his 18th birthday, Bob Mathias announced that he had retired from Olympic competition.
4 years later in Helsinki, Finland, I was back again trying it, and I went to Helsinki as a defending Olympic champion. The pressure was on me. I knew what I was doing, and it was really the most thrilling thing that has ever happened to me.
Bob Mathias had rewritten decathlon history. 2 gold medals, 1948 in London, 1952 Helsinki. In Helsinki, a 17-year-old boy set his hopes and ambitions on a gold medal for 1956. His name, Milt Campbell.
One of the most exciting things to me in my athletic career was standing on the platform next to Bob Mathias, listening to the national anthem being played and watching the American flag being raised in Bob's honor and in my honor and in Floyd Simmons' honor. At this particular time, I think one of the biggest things that happens to athletes, especially if you take second or third, is that you make a commitment to yourself, and that is to return and to capture the first prize or bring home the gold medal.
It is Thursday, November 22nd, 1956. The opening day ceremonies of the Melbourne Olympic Games.
A lot of things happened in 1956, and perhaps the most significant thing that happened was that I was not scheduled to win the Olympic decathlon. Rafer Johnson and Vasnal Kiznikov was scheduled to take first and second, and I was slated to take third. Rafer asked me how did he think it would all turn out, and I remarked to him that I thought that this was a very bad time that he showed up, because this Olympic Games was mine and I was willing to give everything that I had to do to get it. I looked at the expression on his face and realized that he also felt that I was ready.
The first event, the 100-meter dash.
I knew that I had to get off that day to a big race, because the 100 meters gave you a lot of points, so this would put some of the fear into some of the other athletes that were there and hoping to get somebody nervous other than myself.
Campbell's time, 10.8. It is worth 990 points. But Johnson is an outstanding sprinter, capable of competing on an equal level with world-class runners.
I watched Rafer, and I guess in about the first 20 yards he was out front, and he continued to just pull away in the 100.
Johnson's margin of victory is misleading. He finishes in a time that is 1/10 slower than Campbell's. After the first event, Johnson trails his teammate by 42 points. Johnson gains a few points back in the long jump. But Campbell comes right back in the shot put for another victory. After 3 events, he leads Johnson by 69 and Kuznetsov by 286. In the high jump, Campbell again increases his lead. Now it is time for the 5th and final event of the first day.
In the quarter mile, I was a bit disappointed because there was only 2 of us running. And after the first turn, I was out front, and so therefore I just had to run the race practically off the impulse of the crowd. It's hard to do when you're out front and you can see nobody else in sight.
Campbell's win earns him 940 points. At the end of the first day, he leads Johnson by 189. Kuznetsov is all but finished, trailing Campbell by 573. The second day begins. In world-class competition, it is rare that a decathlon championship is all but decided after 6 events. Milt Campbell can do it in the 110-meter hurdles. He is one of the finest hurdlers in the world. At his best, he is capable of winning an individual gold medal in this event. Campbell finishes in 14 seconds flat. It is worth an incredible 1,124 points. With 4 events to go, he leads Johnson by 525 and Kuznetsov by 857. In the next 3 events, the discus, pole vault, and javelin, Johnson cuts down the margin. But he still trails Campbell by 323 points, with only the 1,500-meter run still to go. Campbell only has to finish the race to win the gold medal, but in his heat, he will encounter perhaps the most dramatic 2 minutes of his athletic career, his meeting with Ian Bruce of Australia.
Coming into the bell lap, I can remember seeing the man ring the bell and seeing the German begin to take off and Vasnal Kisnikov begin to round the turn, and Ian Bruce was still behind me at this particular time. And all of a sudden I hear this voice off my shoulder saying, come on, big boy, it's time to run. I'm sure you can do better than this. Come on, let's run. I turned around and looked at Ian Bruce, and he was running like he had just walked on the track and started running. He wasn't breathing hard, and he wasn't sweating. He just seemed to keep yelling at me at this particular point. So we started picking up the pace. And as we picked it up a little faster and a little faster, I could look up and see the Russian we began to close on the Russian tremendously. I can remember then going into the last turn and thinking that I want to catch this guy. I've got to catch him. I've got to beat him. And Ian Bruce was saying at the same time, come on, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. I thought this was fantastic because I could feel the speed picking up. And coming off the last turn, Ian Bruce and I got into a sprint. And stride for stride, we came down. We passed the Russian, and we were driving for the tape. And I could remember having an edge on him right down to the wire. When we got down to the wire, he nipped me out. I thought that was fantastic. I put my arms around him. I gave him a big hug and a kiss. I thought, here's a guy that I'm competing against that wants to see me win as badly as I wanted to win. And I really fell in love with this guy. I thought he was one of the most fantastic athletes to be there. And to be from Australia, I felt that somewhere in the world I'd always have a friend.
Final placing, Milt Campbell, United States first, with 7,937 points, a new Olympic record, but 48 points short of Rafer Johnson's world record. Second place, Rafer Johnson, United States, 350 points behind Campbell. Place, Vasily Kuznetsov, Soviet Union, 472 points behind Campbell. Milt Campbell's Olympic career is now over. He has fulfilled the promise he made to himself when he finished in second place at the Helsinki Olympics 4 years before.
Several photographers came over and they wanted to take a picture, and the Russian was talking out, so when they said raise your hands and wave to the crowd and everything, I reached down and helped the Russian raise his arm.